Hi there guys, and welcome once again to Jonesy's Leeds United Weekly. So to start off with, at the beginning of the week, Josh Warrington was named the ambassador for the Leeds United Foundation. The 24-year-old Leeds-born featherweight said about the appointment, "I am hugely proud of my Leeds roots and absolutely thrilled to be invited to become the sports ambassador for the Leeds United Foundation. The Leeds United Foundation helps over 50,000 people, from children to the elderly to the disabled to the unemployed, through community-based projects. And with Josh's role, that'll include in going around to various schools, to various sports clubs and everything, and trying to help people get involved into the projects like this and just be kind of a nice sort of famous face and someone for kids and other people to kind of look up to and everything. And you know, having such a well-known Leeds lad, Leeds United supporter and everything is, I think, a pretty good appointment from the foundation. The WBC Intercontinental and Commonwealth Featherweight Champion is in action at Leeds Arena, the First Direct Arena, on September 5th, where he faces the Aussie Joe Brunker in a massive fight there. Tickets are selling fast, but they are still available, so go check them out and support one of our local lads. Moving on to Wednesday, and the lads faced a long trip down to Bristol City and Ashton Gate for the Wednesday night kick-off there, which was 7:45. It was, of course, being back to Ellen Road in the Pavilion and Billy's Bar, which I actually went to see in the Pavilion. Again, really greatly attended. I think that it said there was over like 1,300 fans there, which is absolutely fantastic when you think about it, as well as 1,300 fans that had travelled down to Bristol on a Wednesday night as well, which is just crazy. So Rosler made a few changes. He changed the formation to a 4-4-2 and brought Antonucci in to partner Chris Wood up front. He also brought in Giuseppe Belushi and also Scott Wootton. So going out for those three was Berardi, Cooper and Mowat. Straight away from the off, quite a few eyebrows being raised really, especially sort of dropping Berardi to bring Wootton in at right back. And obviously bringing in Antonucci, he had to drop one of the midfielders, and he decided to stick with Phillips and drop Mowat, who, you know, to some had been our best player so far this season. So that was a bit of an odd one really. And the Belushi Cooper thing it's kind of one of those things that it just seems to be chopping and changing all the time at the moment, so no one was really too surprised by that. The game itself, the first half, really Bristol City did dominate. It was very rare that we were getting forward or causing them any kind of problems really. We just couldn't get into any sort of rhythm or any flow. The passing was again kind of similar to the Doncaster game. It was all over the place. And yeah, we just couldn't get into the game. There was just absolutely no rhythm there, and really City were the dominant team and they were the ones that looked most likely to score. Silvestri was, from the off, really looking very unsure about himself. He was dropping a lot of catches. He just didn't seem very dominant of his penalty area. He made one or two okay saves, but he just didn't look quite right, and you know that proved to be very costly. And just when you thought, you know, we were wanting to get into half time, at least just keeping it at 0-0, so we had something to work on in the second half, we go forward and Antonucci manages to win a penalty. The keeper managed to bring him down. You could see that he was looking for it, but there was no, you know, you couldn't argue with it, put it that way. And he dispatched the penalty really nicely, and you know, just like he did against Doncaster really, he certainly wasn't going to choose Chris Wood to take that penalty, but yeah, Antonucci, no fuss, no issues at all, calmly placed the penalty away, and somehow we were going into the break 1-0 up, which was a lot more than what we were expecting. And then into the second half, I think obviously that penalty had kind of spurred us on and everything, and we came out fighting. We were looking more urgent to get forward and create chances, and again we were looking okay. And I think after about 52 minutes, it was about 10 minutes into the second half, a great attacking threat from us. Antonucci with some great play managed to find Chris Wood in the box, who managed to squirm his way into getting a shot away at goal, and he did it fantastically, finding the bottom left-hand corner, no, bottom right-hand corner, sorry. It was a fantastic finish, and you could see the relief on his face to get that goal. You know, it clearly meant the world to him. A bit of pressure taken off him, especially after the penalty miss against Doncaster. And yeah, suddenly we found ourselves 2-0 up, and kind of, you know, as dominant as Bristol had been, we we looked in control of the game and looked like we couldn't really lose it from that point on. But stupidly, we decided to then go defensive and just sit back a lot, which is always so terrible to see, because whenever that happens, you always know how it's going to go, how the rest of the match is going to go. We did get forward the odd time. I mean, Chris Wood had another shot that just went wide, but apart from that, we didn't really create that many more chances. And the more we were sitting back, the more Bristol City were just kind of coming on to us and trying to force that error and force that mistake. Rosler, for me, made a big mistake in taking Antonucci off so soon. There was no need to do that, and from then on, you could just kind of see what was going to happen. And sure enough, on the 88th or 89th minute, Kieran Agard, of course, a player who we were after, I think, last season or the season before, broke forward on the far right side and hit a shot that squirmed past Silvestri into the net. I personally feel that Silvestri should have been doing a lot better there. Getting beaten at his near post, not really good enough for me. And the defenders kind of sat off Agard a bit too much, allowing him to get the shot away. And then that just meant a lot of squeaky bum time for what everyone thought was going to be maybe 3-4 minutes of injury time. Then the fourth official raised the board and everyone saw it was 6 minutes, and that's when everyone kind of thought this is not going to end well. And again, sure enough, on 95 minutes, Flint from a corner. It was a corner that didn't look like it was going to get too much. It was an outswinging one. There were loads of bodies in there, but the header came in. Silvestri just completely flapped it, pushed it straight out to Flint, who just had to tap it into an empty net, and that was on 95 minutes. And yeah, I've never been so gutted. It was, well, everyone, you could just the feel in the room just absolutely just drained away. It was such a bad feeling to be 2-0 up with essentially 2 minutes left, and to end up drawing 2-2 was absolutely sickening. So a massive disappointment. I mean, there were positives to take from that, but to draw in that fashion, it felt like a loss. It really did. And the errors from Silvestri were really quite bad. The team as a whole, like I say, we sat back and defended too much and let them come on to us too much. And you had to ask questions a little bit of Rosler as well. Some of the changes and the subs that he made just didn't sit right with many of us. But unfortunately, there was a lot of abuse and flack sent to Silvestri, throughout the rest of that week, especially on Twitter and to his wife as well, which was just disgusting. Really, some of the stuff, he was sent death threats and sent awful things, which, it brings up a whole different debate about whether players should be on Twitter or whatever. But at the end of the day, so-called Leeds supporters, saying some of the stuff that they did towards him, is just inexcusable, really, and really not good to see. Not nice to see, anyway. So moving on to the game yesterday, where we faced Sheffield Wednesday at home, of course, at Ellen Road in a 12:30 kickoff. Once again in front of the Sky cameras, which had a little bit of effect on attendance. I think it was just over 22,000 with 1,300 from Wednesday. If it hadn't been 12:30 or on Sky or as pricey as it was, it would have been a much bigger crowd, I think. But even so, it was still a decent atmosphere. The South Stand creating a great sound as always. I was actually sat in the northwest corner for a change. And once again, we saw some changes from Rosler. He essentially dropped Wotton for Berardi and brought Liam Cooper back in for Giuseppe Belushi. So apart from that, no changes to the team. Didn't think about bringing Mowat back in. He kept Calvin Phillips in the centre of midfield as well. And the game really, first half, for the first sort of 30-35 minutes, not a lot really happened, for a kind of intense, Yorkshire derby. There really wasn't that much between the two sides, neither side creating any clear-cut chances. For us, sort of Dallas and Antonucci had some efforts, and Sheffield Wednesday really didn't have, pose that much of a threat. Neither keeper really having to make a save. So there really wasn't that much to say at that point. I mean, our passing again was really poor. There didn't seem to be that much urgency yet again from the team. And really for me, Calvin Phillips looked like a little kid out there. I mean, I know he is a youngster, but he just looked completely lost in the centre midfield, which was quite sad to see, really. He was really struggling. and it was really costing us in the centre of midfield. They were just out muscling him every time and winning the ball off him, which caused a few problems for us. Then in the 37th minute, again, I think we were just looking to possibly get into half-time just at 0-0 and push on from there. But Marco Matthias of Sheffield Wednesday scored what will probably be one of the greatest goals he'll ever score in his career. The ball was pumped forward, he beat the offside trap, went into the far right side of the penalty area, flicked over the defender's head and volleyed it into the far right hand top corner. Went in off the crossbar, and everyone was stunned. Because I think at first people were thinking there was a touch of offside there, but I don't think anyone was expecting the ball to go in. The way it all happened, everyone was like, it just didn't happen, but it did, and Wednesday found themselves 1-0 up before half time. So Russell made some changes in the second half, around just after the 50-minute mark. He brought on Luke Murphy and Alex Mowat for Sam Byram and Calvin Phillips. I agreed with the Phillips one, didn't particularly agree with the Byram one. Quite a lot of people seem to be giving him stick yesterday, but I don't really understand why, because he didn't seem to be doing anything wrong for me. And he seemed to be wanting to take players on. He was holding the ball up well and passing it well and moving quite well. So personally didn't see that, but it did make a bit of an effect anyway, because then on 61 minutes we did get the equaliser back. Some great work from Stuart Dallas down the right hand side, managing to make his way into the penalty area. Put a fantastic ball across the face of goal past the keeper, and Chris Wood got himself in a great position to just put the ball home. Easy finish for him, but good for him to get that goal in front of the Kop, get himself in that area, and of course get the equaliser. And good to see Dallas finally getting into the game properly. He seems a lot fitter now. He's getting involved a lot more and taking defenders on. And yeah, it was a really well worked goal. So we thought moving on from there, we looked most likely to score, and we did for the majority of the time. But we were just still struggling so much to create the chances. And whatever chances we were getting, we just weren't putting away and looked like we were panicking with it, which again, really disappointing to see. And even more disappointing was the urgency. From free kicks or throw-ins, the players just didn't look like they were wanting to get on with it quickly and look to get that winner. We just seemed to be idly strolling about the pitch, and I know that the schedule's been tough, over the past week or so. But that's no excuse, not for professionals like that are as fit and healthy as they are. They should still have been going, 100% until the 90 minutes were up. But we looked like we were just fading away. And although we looked like the most likely team to score, I just didn't see where a goal was coming from, and just knew it was going to end up 1-1. Sheffield Wednesday looked quite happy with the point, to be fair. Not that they didn't keep trying to attack, but they seemed quite happy to go away with a point, which was fair enough. And that's how it finished. It finished 1-1, which, 4 draws out of 4 games, kind of unheard of with us. And although it's good that we're still unbeaten, it's just how long can we keep using that excuse for, all these draws are fair enough if we're going to stay unbeaten, but we need to get a win out of somewhere. If we go to the next game against Derby next week and we lose that one, which the way Derby are going and our record against them is probably highly likely, then these 4 draws have been for nothing really. To get 4 points out of your first 4 games, should be doing better than that. And yes, they are games that maybe in the past we might have lost in the situations we were in. But also, you look at Burnley, you look at Bristol City, we should have won those games quite comfortably, really. So yeah, I'm pretty disappointed. I'm not going to lie. A lot of people try to take positives out of it, but for me, we really do need to kick up a notch and get into a better gear with everything, and actually look a bit more urgent. And I think we're going to struggle against Derby next weekend, but we'll have to see with that. And finally, finishing on some possible transfer news. Sort of midweek, it was mooted about that we were interested in Fernando Forestieri, 25-year-old striker from Watford, who people may know he scored 2 goals against us last season when they beat us 4-1 down at Vicarage Road. He scored something like, I think it's 17 in like 60 odd appearances for them, or 70 odd appearances. But decent enough striker and everything. Initially we were wanting to take him on a season-long loan, which Watford weren't really wanting to entertain, and Chelino said that we didn't have the money to stoke up for him. But then all of a sudden, apparently we have got 3 million to stoke up for him, and it's all basically down to personal terms now. So it's basically up to the player, it's up to Forestieri whether he wants to make the move or not. Now today, Watford are at home to Southampton, and he's on the bench. So it doesn't seem in that much of a rush to kind of get a deal done. So we'll have to see where that one goes. So like I say, 3 million for him. And also we seem to be interested, well, keeping our interest going in the Belgian winger Anthony Limbombe, I think that's how you pronounce it, from NEC Nijmegen. I have no idea how to pronounce that. The Dutch side anyway, NEC Nijmegen. We had an initial offer of 1.5 million rejected for him, so it's believed a fee to get him would be between sort of 2 and 3 million again. And apparently the player seems to be interested, because they actually left him out of the side yesterday against Ajax, saying that he's sort of, well, basically that his head's been turned by this move to Leeds. So it seems like he's interested. You know, it's just whether we can stoke up the cash for him really. So we're looking at around sort of 6 million for both those players. So, you know, that'd be another striker, another winger, which is great. But for that to happen, I can't see how we can do that without a player leaving, so that kind of begs the question on whether Sam Byram's going to leave. Of course, he's basically the one player that everyone's been talking about this transfer window, about who's going to be leaving Leeds. A lot of clubs are meant to have been interested in him, but there's been no real kind of hard evidence of any clubs coming in with an offer for him. For me, sorry about that, guys, my camera just decided to completely die on me. So as I was saying, yeah, for me, I would be looking to offload him for around sort of 6-7 million, because like I say, it's been around sort of 4 million that's been sort of mooted about that teams would be offering for him. For me, it'd have to be around 6 million, because I don't know, people have been giving him a lot of stick so far this season and saying that he doesn't seem to be, like, his head doesn't seem completely screwed on, so maybe he is, you know, looking for a move elsewhere. And it's a tough one with Byram, because obviously he's in his final year of his contract, so if he is going to be going and he's not wanting to sign a new contract with us, then it's best just to offload him now and get whatever money we can for him. Because if we don't do it now and he's still not going to sign a contract and we leave it to January, no one's going to come in for him, knowing that if they just wait another 6 months they can get him for nothing, and then we'll end up, you know, selling one of the best young potential players we've had in a while for absolute peanuts, and we don't really want that. So, you know, ideally we'd like to see him sign a new contract, which apparently there has been talks between the club and himself, but obviously they're not getting anywhere. Whether the club aren't offering him enough, or whether Sam himself or his agent or whatever is being greedy and holding out for more, or whether he literally just wants to move away to the big leagues or something, we don't know. But if it is going to happen, I just want it sorted now. If we are going to sell him, get about 6 million from him and offload him, or just throw the money at him and get the deal signed and get a new contract signed, because we don't want something, you know, going out and getting strung out across, you know, the rest of the season. So again, like anything with transfers, we'll just have to see how everything goes. Personally, for me, I can possibly see the Limbombe transfer going through. I'm not so sure about the Forestieri one, although the clubs have agreed the deal. I get the feeling that he's not that interested, unfortunately. And to be honest, I don't think striker is the main issue for us. I'd personally say another winger like Limbombe and probably another centre-back. Again, we've been linked once again with Liam Moore from Leicester. But nothing really seems to ever come from those rumours, so I really don't see anything in that personally. So I think this week will actually be interesting, but I don't want it all being dragged out to transfer deadline day. I'd like to sit and enjoy transfer deadline day and watching what other clubs are doing instead of worrying about what we're doing or not doing. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens this week. That's it from me today, guys. Hope you enjoyed it. As always, please do leave your thoughts on what's happened this week in the comments below, or at my Twitter at ChrisJonesLUFC, and also keep sending your comments in sort of over this next week about what will be happening, you know, keeping up to date with the transfers and everything. And let me know your thoughts on the news that comes out this week, so I can possibly read your views out next week on the video. So thank you for watching, guys. If it's your first time watching, then please do leave a like and a subscribe. That'd be really great, and if you could also share it with friends and other people, that'd be much appreciated as well. And until next time, take care of yourselves, guys, and I'll see you all very soon.